Hey, 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 we are back, y'all. We are back. Welcome to Let's Chat. How y'all doing? How y'all doing?
Hey,
We are back,
personal
y'all. We are back.
segment.
Welcome to Let's Chat. Uh-oh, T, you got to go out and come back in.
Okay.
How y'all doing? How y'all doing? We are back in the chat room. We have our next fabulous guest coming to kick it with us in the chat room, y'all. If y'all missed our first segment, no worries, no worries, honey. We was talking about it all. We was talking about is mom or wife in the front seat. I don't know if y'all saw the video that was going around. Yes, we was talking about it. So it was a video, and it looked like it might have been a skit. Kind of looked like it might have been a skit. But just in case it was real, we talked about it. So the video is on my page. So make sure you check it out because that's what we actually talked about. And we went into a whole thing about relationships and marriage. Make sure y'all go and check out the replay on our YouTube channel, on our Periscope channel, on Ebony TV. You can definitely check out our replay. But we was talking about it, and most of the men were like, listen, I know what it is. My wife sits in the front seat unless she volunteers her seat. But it's surprising that a lot of women were like, no, I would let my mom sit there. But a lot of that was out of respect. Like you have an option, you have a choice, and you just chose to sit in the back seat out of respect. But what happens when there's no respect in that relationship? When the mom doesn't respect the wife and the wife doesn't respect the mom, where does the husband lie? What is his position? What is his job? His job, in my opinion, is to regulate at that point in time. You have some men that were like, listen, I don't get involved in that. I let them work that out. But in the event they cannot work it out, it's your job to come in and work it out for them. That's just my opinion. Don't send me no inboxes. I do reply.
That's funny. But it's also up to the husband to also establish where his wife's position is.
That's right.
So there should be no doubt.
Absolutely, absolutely. You set the tone. You establish the respect in the relationship for both your mother and your wife, but you have to let it know you leave to cleave. My wife is first. And right down to the ones with the side chicks. Listen, you're giving her too much power, but that's another show. We'll talk about that again. We have our next fabulous guest. We have Florenza Denise Lee. She is in here coming to kick it with us. Welcome to the chat room.
Hey,
Well, hello.
looking
Listen,
all beautiful tonight.
Look at those
listen,
earrings. Yes,
listen.
honey.
I am loving this conversation because I'm like, what? I miss all the videos, but I'm going to tell you, I will let the mother-in-law make her choice where she wants to sit. If she wants to sit in the front, I always offer the front. And then she says, no, honey, go ahead. I'm like, no,
Mm-hmm.
for real. You go ahead and sit out there because, see, I can see everything that's being said. See, you got to be looking for them. We've been at this for 38 years. I need to be able to see what's going on.
She said, I'm here to peep the whole situation. I need to know posturing. I need to pay attention to attitudes. She whispering. I hear you very well.
And they can talk without talking. So they be throwing little signs. If I might say something or, something come up, you got to be looking for those unspokens. I learned a lot from the back seat. Let me tell you, I learned a lot from the back seat.
So, see, Miss Florenza says that's 38 years. She was like, I voluntarily sit in the back seat, but that is strategic.
Yes,
That's strategic.
Yes.
I love it.
I love it.
So, before we start talking about it, let's talk a little bit about you. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your literary journey.
Wow. Well, thank you so much first for having me on your show. I am so excited. I am Florenza Lee. I used to go by Florenza Denise Lee, and I'm going to tell you there's a method to my madness. My goal is to eventually just get to Florenza. You know what I'm saying? B. Beyonce done dropped her Yonsei. She just B. I don't want to be. I figure I can't stop it at F. Cause see, it's a whole bunch of F.
She said, "Wait a minute. I had to be clear on my position on that, so that there's no discrepancies on what I want you to call me."
Yeah, you're gonna say my whole name, but just the first one. That's it. You're gonna put some respect on that. So I am Florenza Lee. I have been writing children's books for about 5 years, and this journey found me. I never considered being a writer. I was just minding my own business one day, woke up, started writing children's books, and truthfully, the rest, as they say, is history. I have two amazing daughters. One will be 33 in a couple weeks, and my baby girl is 31. My husband and I have been together for over 38 years. He is a 31-year U.S. Army active duty veteran. And so we just love life. I'm excited about everything. I am.
Oh, that's a wonderful way to be.
Yes.
Awesome. Now you say this industry chose you. You didn't choose that. You're gonna have to give us a little bit of background on that.
Yeah, January the 31st, 2014, I woke up minding my business. It was a Saturday. And out of the blue, I just was struck with inspiration to write. I wrote, that day, I wrote 12 children's books, started my own company that day, got orged myself that day. Listen, I don't know what I thought God was doing, but I'm going to tell you what, I was getting in position. I went in the back seat to this. I was in the driver's seat. I felt like if God gave me that many books in one setting, I needed to get ready. So yeah, I bought 1,000 ISBNs. I thought I was getting ready to write me a library. Let me tell you. So
wait a minute. Now, see, we're not gonna just let you just pass by what you just said. Like you ain't say what you just said about writing all them books in one day. Now, Miss Denise, Miss Florenza Lee, we're not gonna let you do that. So we always ask a little bit about a go moment, and I think I wasn't going to give you the go moment question, but now I am, because we need to know how it came to be that you wrote so many books in one day. So a go moment is when thought and execution come together. Normally, we're very mindful about how we speak to other people, how we speak into other people's lives, but we're less mindful about how we speak to ourselves. And 9 times out of 10, we are talking ourselves out of certain things. So normally the idea has come to us 3 or 4 times, and we've given our own self an excuse on why we can't do something, why it's not time. So I want you to tell us a little bit about your go moment, because when you went, you went.
Yes. I think that was the whole point. And the ironic part of it is, on January 31st, 2014, when I woke up minding my own business and wrote the 12 books, that actually didn't start my true journey. I believe that was God priming my pump. That was my burning bush moment. He was like, can I get your attention? And once he got it, and I didn't just write, y'all, I started my company that day. And my husband had the nerve. That's why you got to let him sit in the front seat sometimes. He had the nerve to ask me if that's how other people do it. I'm like, do you see how I look? I got one earring over here. I got glasses.
I'm not concerned about other people.
What part of this look ordinary to you? And but that night is when everything shifted for me. That night I was given in a dream the words to my book, The Tale of Max the Mindless Dog, a children's book on mindfulness. That book is in 48 states, 30 countries. It is just a phenomenal book. And I tell everyone, you said it, we sometimes talk our way out of that very thing that God is doing. And if he gives you the vision, guess what? He don't need your help. He just needs you in agreement. So shut up and do. So that's my motto. Just shut up and do it. Just shut up and do it.
That's awesome. Now you say you also bought 1,000 ISBNs. Now, did you expect to write that much, or that was? Tell us about that. Some people don't even buy one.
Real talk.
They don't even know the benefit of an ISBN. So the fact that you knew that, okay, I need this for something. I'm gonna need this for something. I don't know how many I need. So let me just go
1,000.
ahead on and get them.
Real talk. I thought that 1,000 was just going to be my jump off. I'm telling y'all, I didn't know what was going on.
But you know what? Honestly, that happens a lot. When people come into the literary industry, a lot of times they are bumping around in the dark, or they want to just be writers. They don't understand that there's a business side. In the word, books are absolutely a business. And they don't talk enough about the business side of books. So a lot of times people are bumping around in the dark trying to figure out how to make it happen. Try to understand, do they need this? Why do they need this? If they need this. An ISBN is like the social security number for your book. That's your ownership of your book. And it's absolutely important that you have one. Yes, Amazon gives you a free one. We know this, but that's only for Amazon.
And it limits where you're able. The purpose for owning the ISBN is, I tell people, it gives you the ability to reproduce them.
That's right.
I mass print in China. My printer is in China. I'm dealing in a 10,000 at a time. I'm not messing with Amazon's 199, 150, whatever options they're given. I can't be restricted to that because my vision is larger than just one platform. And so I knew going in that I was going to have to be strategic on this thing. So I actually started in the reverse. I learned the business side before I even fine-tuned the writing side. And it's so funny because just this week I went back to look at 2 of the books that were in the original 12 that I wrote. One has 2 actually have been published. Max has been published. That was the one that came the night after. And then I went back and grabbed 2 of the originals. Well, I know so much more now. Let me tell you, it was just like, you know what, God, I'm almost embarrassed to say I was a writer. I don't know what, he just let me wear that title for a minute. He's like, "Gone, baby. Gone, baby. Gone. Look, you're so cute. Go with yourself. Like
go ahead on out there. Oh, that's what you want to do? Oh, but you're not listening to me. Go ahead. You'll be back.
Girl, like a tuba player only being able to blow one note. Go ahead, baby. You ready for the symphony? Go. You're so cute.
Now, Florence, I have a question. You took off running with this writing. Now, you stashed, loaded up on ISBNs. You wrote 12 books. You got your .org going. Did you know anything about the business side of writing before you even did any of this? Or you just, had this inkling to do it and you just didn't know business sense of the industry at all?
I knew nothing about nothing. All I knew was this.
Wow.
My daddy gave me 12 books. My daddy expected me to do something with it. If I did nothing but try, I was going to leave this earth. And when I stand before him face to face, I was going to be like, give me my E for effort, because I tried that thing.
Now I have a question though, because your library is your catalog or your library is very important, and a lot of times every book you write does not hit. Every book you write does not resonate. But what happens is once they get that one book that hits, they go back. Did you go back to your library and tighten up those first 12 books?
Now, what happened was the first 12 I did not publish. I only published the very first book, and then the other 11 sat. And then the 12th book that I got that next night, 4:44 in the morning, that one I jumped on only because my mentor at the time, who was a very good friend of mine, he was the only other person that I had heard use the word mindfulness, which is a repeat word in that book. And I sent it to him, and he said, whatever you do, get this book published, because not since 1906 has anyone written from this perspective before. And so that's when I realized everything that had taken place the day before was simply a burning bush. That night, I was given the message to carry. And when I became obedient to that, then all the other books came. So to date, I've written 82.
Woo,
I've
go
published
girl.
Whoa.
I've published 10. Again,
Yes.
only 2 of the original have published. The others were new books. I have 3 coming out between this week and next week. We're fine tuning. I'm working with some illustrators right now. We just needed to clean up some things. And my
Mm-hmm.
goal is to publish 12 this year. And we'll just keep going as they're going. You know, books are babies. I believe that the spoken word and the written word is power, is life, and is spirit. And it knows when its timing is ready. You know, I've started on some projects, man, and I think they're so good. I got one right now, y'all. I paid $1,000 in editing fees. And that book ain't
Mm-hmm.
left out of nothing. It hadn't even been backed up. It ain't
Mm-hmm.
even got a backup.
Wow.
It's not ready for it yet, you know? And so we have to
Mm-hmm.
know
Mm-hmm.
when it's time.
But I
Right.
want to ask why children's books? Only because to be into that part of the industry is really a hard genre to be in because it's dealing with kids. Even though you are marketing for kids, you're dealing with their parents. So you really have to catch the parents' eye to catch
Yeah,
what they feel that the kids should have.
yeah.
And so being in the child genre for children is really a hard genre to be into, especially marketing and moving yourself around. How do you move yourself around so that you are in front of your audience, which are children?
You know, first I want to say I believe that had the books not come to me the way that they did, and I had studied the different genres, I can promise you there is absolutely no way I would have chosen this genre first. This is absolutely the most difficult area of writing, the rules, the
Mm-hmm.
stipulation, the
Mm-hmm.
restrictions. And it's not like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you can just write your own rules and make it up. And we see that happening, especially within our community. And then we wonder why
Mm-hmm.
we don't get the support. Well, damn, girl, you got a book with 2,000 words in it. Johnny can't sit his butt still for 15 seconds. He ain't caring about your 2,000 words. And so,
Right.
you know, and so the rules are so strict. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I really believe that it called me because somewhere within me was the ability to tap into the different areas of need for
Mm-hmm.
children and to write
Mm-hmm.
from their perspective. And, you know, without sounding doo 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 doo, like I'm going to be in a
Yes.
straitjacket, I
Mm-hmm.
actually take on the persona of my characters. You know, I
Mm-hmm.
see from their vantage point, like when I'm watching them walk through a room, I'm not walking as 5 foot, okay, 5 foot, okay, 5'2". You know,
I feel you. I feel you, Miss Florence.
I have my
Florenza. I
6 inch
feel you.
heels. I'm 5'8" any day. Shoot, I'm gonna stretch out this fat. Um, devil is a liar. But you know, I'm walking into that room with that child's perspective of what are they seeing, what are they hearing, what are they comprehending. And it's just a beautiful thing. So I'm excited that this genre has chosen me. Just
Mm-hmm.
recently, though, mama took off her diaper and caught herself gonna step into some grown folks lingerie.
Oh, wait a minute now. Wait a minute. Let me ask this one question before we get into the nitty gritty in the of what it is. Now, I was on a actually on a webinar the other day, and me and Stephanie SF Party was talking about this the other
Uh-huh.
day um, about how Black literature or Black business of
Yeah.
publishing, Black publishing, needs to be revised. It needs to be
Yes.
revamped. It needs to be repushed.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that, being an author and a publisher.
You know, she and I have had this conversation as well. And I think it goes back to something that you just said in terms of writing is a business first. If you don't look
Mm-hmm.
at authoring as authorship, meaning you've got to be able to be in a position to where somebody can tell you your book baby fugly, not just ugly, but it's fugly. And we don't
Mm-hmm.
like to hear that. We think because we threw some words on some paper and paid somebody $15, don't even get me talking about the true cost of illustrations, that we can just
Mm-hmm.
throw our book out there and expect our friends, family, and phonemies
Mm-hmm.
to purchase it and invest in it because we have pimped out our image on the cover.
Uh-oh.
Or we
Talk
look,
about it now.
look, that's my peeve. We're gonna be here for a minute, y'all. That's my peeve. Just because you slap a little afro,
You can be here long as you want.
look,
We gonna listen.
just because you slap a little baby with an afro on the cover, don't think I'm gonna give you my money. Because my money, listen, I got my 9 to 5. I get cussed at, spit at, throwed at. I'm a veteran. I am an advocate for our veterans, and some of our veterans still think they back in, 1960.
Uh-oh.
And so, my money don't come easy, and so I
Mhm.
don't give it up easily. I would applaud
Mhm.
you, tell you, girl, good job. Don't mean
Mhm.
I'm gonna buy it. And so we have to
Right.
think business. We have to think professional, and we have to think longevity. I tell people I am writing future classics. I'm not. I don't write to trend. I'm not
That's
even
right.
Mhm.
tracking trends. I don't track trends. I
Mm-hmm.
don't wear trendy.
Mhm.
Even though I'm stylish, it's not trendy. I spend good money
Mhm.
for things because you're gonna see it again. And if you go follow some of my pictures, girl, you're gonna see minus these. You're gonna see all this on the picture from 10 years ago.
That's okay. That's okay because I honestly believe it's not um where you are or what you're in. It's what you do when you're there.
Right.
How you do it when you're
Mhm.
there. How you
Yes.
posture yourself when you are
Yes.
there. When you are
Yes.
in how you move.
Yes.
A lot of times people watch you. They watch how you move. They watch how you do things. And I think that anytime you are doing something and you're being real to yourself, it's always going to be a beneficial moment. And every
Yes.
time,
Mhm.
especially in literature, it's not a money making moment, but
Right.
it is a networking moment where you can absolutely set yourself up to make a money making move.
And that's it.
Mhm.
It's children's what makes children's books so dynamic is it truly is solely built on relationships. As a parent, you invite me into your child's bedroom, into
Mm-hmm.
the back seat of your car, into the park, into the beach, into your living room. You invite me into those spaces with your child
That's
because
right.
your child is carrying my words. And
Mm-hmm.
again, words are spiritual. And so when I'm being invited into those spaces, I don't take it lightly that I've been invited into those spaces. So I'm looking at what is it that I'm adding of value? What is it that I'm leaving that child with that tomorrow they can apply and be better? And so that's why I don't track
Mhm.
trends because I'm looking at that longevity factor. I want you to be saying my name 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years from
That's
now.
right.
Even after I'm long gone, I want
Mhm.
you to be saying my name. And
That's
not
right.
just
Mhm.
because I built something about me, but because every child that reads my books are better for having read my books. And that's what
Mhm.
I'm looking at. And you can't get there not knowing the business
Yeah.
because
Mhm.
you can have a phenomenal book, but if people don't know about you and you're not promoting yourself and you're not out there
Mhm.
with the people hobbing, nobbing, getting to know people,
Yeah.
all you have is a good book that's sitting on your shelf.
Yeah. Mixing and
Mhm.
mingling
I
is very important.
right.
Go ahead, see.
Hmm.
I want to say that I want to go back to something you said, Florenza, that you're writing future classics. I've always been a reader. I mean, since forever. And I remember books I've read like 20, 30 years ago, 40 years ago. And those books stick with you. And I can still see the covers of those books.
Yes.
And those authors are long gone, but I still live in those books. And also, as someone that I live here in New York City, and my office has this program where we read to New York City school kids,
Uh-huh.
from ages from like first grade on. And I love getting a young reader and instilling the love of reading.
Yes.
And also, something that you said, the illustrations of books. One of the best things is reading a book and showing them the illustrations because it reflects the story. And
Yeah.
it's so important for those illustrations to reflect that story. How do you feel when you see young readers just absorb your books and know that you have a possible avid reader starting off with your book?
Before COVID-19, my greatest avenue in terms of marketing was I do a lot of local and not so local events.
Mm-hmm.
I put more miles on my car than a little bit. And I love to drive because I have quite an elaborate setup. And I want my
Mm-hmm.
setup to go with me because it reflects me. So I'm not that one that's going to put a couple books in a suitcase and jump on a plane and set my books on a table with nothing. I'm bringing all my gear. Right, because when
Mm-hmm.
you take a picture with me, you're gonna be like, "Damn, where she come from? You know, what she got a private jet? We just stayed at a couple Holiday Inns on the way." And so even with that, but before COVID, we were at schools and doing local events, vending events, and I love the local vending events. My husband's like, eventually you have to move past this. I'm like, you don't get it. When a child walks by and they see this banner, and my hair is
Mm-hmm.
normally in my afro. I've been lazy with this job I got lately, but and they walk by and they see me and they grab their parents, pulling their parents towards me, and they're like,
Mm-hmm.
"I love your books, Miss Lee,"
Yes.
and the child sees someone who looks like them,
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
who wrote the
Right.
book, and then when I talk to them about the power of publishing and the power,
Mm-hmm.
and I tell them, I said, it's no different than an artist that writes their own lyrics and own their own label. Who do
Mhm.
you think's
Right.
making more money, that artist or the one that's up front where somebody else got their hands in every pocket that they
That's
have?
right.
And so they
Mm-hmm.
grasp
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm loving it. I love that personal, always being someplace where kids are seeing you, and you should see their faces,
Mm-hmm.
like, because they don't know the difference. They don't know the difference between me and Beyonce. They see me. They ain't see Beyonce.
You're that Beyonce.
They ain't got no picture with me, but they got a picture with me.
That's right. And it's the
I
experience.
love
This is
it.
the thing about authors and books. You are selling an experience,
Yes,
honestly.
yes,
People are not necessarily buying what you're writing. They're buying your reason for writing it. You're selling an experience. So when these kids experience you, when they have a good time, you've come to their class, they've had a very good experience, they're going to remember that. They're going to say, "Ooh, I remember when I was in third grade, we had this author that came out, and let me tell you, that was
yes,
like the best time ever." You know,
yes,
the experience is what you are selling. The
yes,
experience of reading your book, the
yes,
experience of meeting that author, the experience of going to that event. Those are all
yes,
experiences. And even
yes,
if you don't make money during that experience, if that experience is a good one, you're going to go back every year. You're going to
yes,
go back every year because you
Mm-hmm.
know that when I go to this event, I have the best experience of my career. Now,
yes.
you touched on a little bit that you started writing for the grown-ups.
Before I answer that one, I want to go back to say, in the beginning, I did school events for free. And I
Uh,
even went in
Mm-hmm.
and donated books because, like I said, I do mass printings. So I'm getting my actual cost down to pennies per book. And I have really good investors. I have family members who are seven figures, and they will say, here's the money, find a school, go donate a copy of your book to every student and the school. And so I'm able to do that. And so when the children do see me coming, even those who can't afford my books will leave with an autographed copy of my book,
that's
because
right.
I
Wow.
have people that are in tune with me because they know that I'm not in every area. I'm not looking to make a profit. I'm looking to make a difference. And
That's
so
right.
because
Right.
of that, I've got these funders who will step in and say, even before we're logging in here, young girl friend of mine who's in New York. I call her my little vanilla child. And she calls me mom. She said, "Hey, mom, I just wanted to send you this money. I know you don't need it, but you probably know someone who does." And immediately, as
Mm-hmm.
soon as I saw that she had, and it was not a little bit of money, but
Mm-hmm.
immediately someone came to mind that I was like, boom, there you go. I need to take it from your hand and put it in her hand because her blessing needs to be connected to this other person. And I remove myself from
Right.
it. And we
Absolutely.
Right.
have to be able to do that. But talking about the
Mm-hmm.
grown folk stuff, y'all. Talking about the grown folk stuff.
Before you start, I'm gonna go back before we start talking about the grown folks stuff because now you got me going.
Girl,
Because
hold on.
I, you are absolutely right. I an event called Visions in Books, and I had authors that donated books just so they can go to the kids' classroom.
Yeah.
Because we sponsored a teacher. I wanted to be able to help parents, and I didn't want to do a backpack drive because everybody's doing that, and kids' supply list, if y'all don't know, it's like 3 pages long.
Yeah.
So I figure if you help the teacher, you help the kids, you help the parents.
Right.
Most of the authors that could, they gave books to all the kids. Listen, I want to send them all home with books. I want them to have that experience. So I'm glad that you do that when you go into the classrooms. I want them to experience this. I want them to all have this experience. That's the best thing, as an author
It is.
do. But now we're going to talk about these grown folk books you got going on.
So, but let me tell you how this happened. So, all of my life up until when I started writing, I was only called Denise or Nisi. I had never in my life used my first name. And there's a lot of reasons why. It's actually my grandmother's first name. There was a time in my life that I did not honor her memory because I knew too much about the pain that she caused my mom, and it was difficult for me to honor her. I've since been able to let that go because I was given an opportunity to see her life through her lens, and that was a gift from God. And He let me see her struggles. Therefore, I could remove myself from seeing the pain that she caused and actually put myself in a situation to see the pain that she lived. And so the pain that she caused then made sense. And I was able to grasp hold of the beautiful gift that she gave me, even though she was drunk and getting arrested when I was being born. And that's how I got the name Florenza, true story. So, true. And so when I started writing, I could no longer use my name, Denise. Another long story. I started working with an organization that, although Christian in title, was Hale in practice. And my name had become associated with them. And I had worked really hard on my reputation so that my reputation could go before me. And I just felt that this organization had ruined it. But God had a plan because He needed me to go back to the name that He called me. He gave me the name Florenza. So I'm writing these children's books, and I'm thinking, wow, this is great and this is good, and I'm loving life. But like, I have my grandmother's name, but I also have my grandmother's edge. My girl, what kind of rating is this show first? Y'all ain't get, is this PG?
No, ma'am.
No. My grandmama was a hoe. Let me tell you. Look.
Listen, Daddy ain't the only one that's a Rolling Stone. I'm just saying.
She later got saved and she died loving Jesus, bless her soul. But let me tell you, she had to get saved because she was running out of men folk. Listen, look, y'all. So when I started using the name Florenza, I was like, okay, this is the same Florenza that's writing these little children's books. But then I started feeling this pull, if you will, towards some other kind of books. And, I've looked at Christian books and some things that, I've been writing on the side. But there was just a part of me that was like, no, girl, we just need to get dirty for a minute. And when I realized that it was time to get dirty for a minute, I realized I couldn't stain the name Florenza no matter what I felt coming. And one of the things that I had always told my mom, in honoring my grandmother's name, her mother, I told my mom, I said, look, if ever I step over to the nasty side, just so you know, I'm dragging your mama's name with me. So, look, I ain't going to reinvent the wheel. So,
keep it
going. Look. My grandmother never had a middle name, so she took on her maiden name as her middle name when she married Ponder. And all of my businesses have the word Ponder in them, again, to honor my grandmother. And so, even my mobile library and literacy center is a place to ponder. My publishing company is Words to Ponder. My online bookstore is Kuda Fakari, which means, in Swahili, it means ponder. Everything that I do is ponder. And I was thinking, okay, I need a name, but I don't want any kind of, Chardonnay, Chartreuse. I want a name. And I remember I had always said I'm gonna grab my grandmother's name and drag it through the mud. So her maiden name is Aiken, and her married name is Ponder, which I use. And I was like, Aiken Ponder. Oh, that has a nice little
Has
bang
a
to it,
ring.
don't it? So I called my mother and I said,
Mhm.
listen, I'm going to tell you this now because I already bought all the domains. I already done trademarked this thing. I already got the logo for this thing. I'm just going to tell you, kind of
Oh,
sort of asking, for forgiveness instead of permission because it's like already done.
I already did it.
That's how you know. She gonna be dirty. She gonna be your real mama.
Now here on Let's Chat, our motto is if it's gonna be nasty, let it be nasty. If not, please send them to Starbucks for coffee and conversation because we
Yeah,
absolutely don't have time. Don't use
yeah,
big words trying to make love to my brain. That's not working.
yeah, yes. I feel you. And it's been it was an internal struggle because one of the things that I am, again, going back to where I started, I believe words are spiritual and words are life. But I believe that there is just an element to that area that I want to bring that is from a different perspective. I am 56, so I there is a different perspective that I can bring to the table that I believe that perhaps isn't there. And so to find that void, and if it's not my niche, if it's just something that I'm able to do and check that box, then I will be able to still say I checked that box.
Mm-hmm.
And so
mhm.
that's where I am. So it's exciting.
Mm.
It's good. It kind of scares you when these characters get to talking to you at night. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, y'all
Mhm.
gonna have to tone. Somebody got to shut up because I got to sleep. So, geez, right? Got the kids book talking in the morning and a naughty at night. We're gonna come get the sister.
And listen, everybody want
Oh
to have a
God.
moment. Now, I
Yeah.
want to ask you though, because you transitioned from children's books to writing adult books. What was it like when you wrote your first male adult character?
It. Wow, such a good question. I think when the first, and they're still in the process, like they're still being molded and developed and built. um, I think it was a culmination of so many men in my life, and or historical or even biblical, some personalities
Mhm.
and whatnot that all came together to create this entity, to where everything that they said, I can point back to, yeah, I know that one, or that one, or I got a little bit. So if the people know what they did or said, they know it's them. But if you don't know it's them, you ain't gonna know it's them. But they gonna know it's them. That's why I had to write under a fake name, y'all.
Mm. Now I
Listen,
have a question.
Francie,
I have a question. You started off writing children's books, Florenza, and now you're
Well,
dabbing. Okay, now you got. I don't know about that, but you're starting to dip into the adult books. Was there anything that you were able to draw from your experience of writing children's books that you can apply towards writing those nighttime characters?
you know what? Yes. And I'm going to tell you because in the children's literacy arena, you have
Mm-hmm.
to fine tune your thoughts and cut the fat. And you have to make it so
Mm.
lean and so precise and so
Mm-hmm.
clean. And you have
Right.
to hone in on that one thought because children's books can't have three issues.
yeah.
You
Mm.
can develop a series and keep the same characters to pick up a new issue every single book, but a children's
Mm-hmm.
book can only have one issue.
Right.
And so
Right.
I think by having trained my brain to fine tune that thing to where it's so tight,
Mm-hmm.
and that helped when I was looking at how am I going to give this character voice without getting lost.
That's
And they
right.
couldn't get lost because they were so fine-tuned that when they spoke, you heard them. And so
Right.
even in my mind, they have their own dialects, their own, certain phraseology that even when I hear the stories playing out, I already know who's speaking. And I believe that
Mm-hmm.
having had that experience with children's books, and having had to go back to be my first editor, once I realized the editor fees in my first editor, I was with, thank you. I appreciate the work that you did, and that, I'm gonna pay you what you tell me. But what could I have done to bring that cost down? And she said,
Mm-hmm.
fix the easy stuff first. And I'm like, that's it.
That's
Okay,
right.
done. Paid
That's
for that
right.
Grammarly. I started paying for some other, sites that could catch some of the basic things, and started looking for areas online that I can go in and, like Rhyme Zone and things like that. And I don't write in
Mm-hmm.
rhyme, I write in lines and prose, but just learning the process. And
Mhm.
I think because I've taught myself how to use the illustrations, we were talking about this earlier.
Uh-huh.
Um, if
Mm-hmm.
it's an illustration, it doesn't have to be in words. And a lot of new authors will waste words describing what your art should show.
Right.
Well, because when I write a children's book, I see my images and hear the voices. And so I'm hard to work with. Most illustrators probably won't work with me. That's why I pay them so well, because I'm very specific with what I want. You're not just going to give me what you want.
Mhm.
I
Mm-hmm.
respect their work. I respect that they are in the industry and they know how to bring in illustrations to match the dialogue.
Mhm.
But I've already
Mm-hmm.
seen my dialogue and I want to see what I saw.
That's right.
Um,
Right.
and so having been able to see, and I dream in full color, y'all. My dreams stop. Whatever I dreamt last night, I will pick up on today. When I go to sleep, my
Mm.
dreams continue. I dream in the
Right.
same location, in the same city, in the same neighborhood. If it changed, I know something's going on. And so all of those
Mm-hmm.
help me when I'm building my worlds and my characters for the adults. So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Awesome. But I can relate to you because I'm an editor too. And when you don't put in that work, that means that we have to put that work in and it's
mhm,
going to cost you.
yes,
It's just a matter of taking pride in your work because when you
yes,
give your work to an editor, it should be the best that it can possibly
yes,
be.
That's right.
You don't want to half step. You want to give your editor the best you for her to bring out an even better you.
yes. And then we get mad when our voice and our tone is lost. Well, dang, you done gave her 16 tones. How she know which one is yours?
Mhm.
Right. Right. And it's a challenge to one of the things I try to pride myself on is not taking the voice of my clients.
Yeah.
That voice is what the readers want to read about, not me.
Mhm. Yeah.
And my job is to make that voice as boisterous as it possibly can be.
Right. But
And
they
I
have to
try,
give
right,
you.
Leash?
Man, let me tell y'all. It takes me to tell y'all about T editing pen. T got that hardcore red pen. She like that teacher. Remember when you were younger and you stayed up all night? You was up past your bedtime. You was writing this paper. You was feeling good. You was like, oh, I'm going to school. I got my A. I know. And then you turn your paper in. You all geeked up. And
Yeah.
you get it
Me.
back, and it's got all these red lines, and you like, oh my god.
Looking like a murder scene. Looking like a murder scene.
All these green marks. Oh my god.
You're
I
like,
don't. And then you
who
go
are
home,
you?
right? And then you go home, and it's like, my teacher doesn't like me. So there was a show that used to come on, and we used a snippet from it for our radio show. And so in there, she is a writer, and her husband is a police officer. And so she's doing the editing process. She's got like the liquor out. She's in her pajamas for like days. And she's going over the edits. And she was like, this is some of my best stuff.
Listen, and
I love that show.
my journey into the adult arena, I'm coming in under Nalina Kai. And it's that fear of We talking the queen of the kings of the castles. We talking the queen of the everything, right? Look, I know she's back. I know she's somewhere watching. Can I tell you the pucker factor kicked in when even she was like, I want you to consider this. I've been watching you and blah blah blah. And I'm like, have you lost your mind? You are not gonna send back anything that I send you looking like it just came off of some murder TV show. What? But that leads into another thing too. As authors, we can't be content to be the brightest light in the room.
Mhm.
We have to surround ourselves with editors, with writers who have already made their mark in the world, and who are still growing,
That's
who
right.
aren't content with the mark that they made, but they're reaching for higher. And because they're reaching for higher and they've got their hand on you, because I know as long as I'm rolling with Lissa in that vein, she's reaching for higher heights. And so what's going to happen is as she reaches higher and I'm holding on to those things that she's passing on, I'm going to reach that height that she just left. And as I'm learning from her and learning from others, eventually in time, we will parallel, and there may be a up, down, but you can't be so afraid to be in the presence of people who have already achieved levels that you yourself thought were impossible. And I think that goes back to, we don't just talk ourselves out of doing something, we talk ourselves out of growing something because we're too afraid to be in the presence of other people and admit what we don't know.
Talk about it.
You better
Listen.
preach. You better preach.
Listen, fear will put you in a trick bag every time. Fear will
Woo!
put you in a trick bag every time. So will being in
Right.
your feelings, but fear will put you in a position you don't want to be in. It will keep you in a position you're not happy in. It will stop you from growing. It will stop you from moving. It will make you feel lesser than who you are. You better
Listen,
talk about that, Miss Florenza.
girl, I eat fear and poop out glitter because this is what I look. Fear, fear. I just wrote a paper on it yesterday. Fear can cause you to fight, flight, freeze. But I say fourth, it can fuel you. The same gasoline that can burn up a car can fuel a car. It's what
Right.
you do with it because fear inside of anything that you're afraid of is your calling. The reason why the enemy makes you afraid of it is so that you don't go near it.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he makes you afraid of it. But when you get past that thing, going back to Moses, when he saw that bush burning, he said, "What's going on? I need to walk on over here and see what's happening with this thing."
See what's going on.
That's
And
right.
that's how we need to look at fear. Ask yourself, God didn't give you the fear. And if it didn't come from God, who is it coming from? And
That's
ask
right.
yourself, what is it about this thing that's so important to you that the only resource that the universe outside of God will give to you is a sense of fear? That means
Absolutely.
in that thing is your everything. Don't dig through that
You
poop and get what
have
you
to
need.
you have to start, and I think that's one thing that we're missing. We have to start asking ourselves why. If you upset, why am I upset? If I'm
Yeah.
busting out car windows, why am I busting out car windows? If I'm over here crying, why am I crying? Not because I just feel, no. Why? Because that why is going to be your reason for doing whatever you need to do next. You need
Yes.
to know the why so that you know what's fueling the feeling that you're having, the behavior that you're displaying. You have to
Yes.
ask yourself why. And we don't do
Mm-hmm.
that enough. We just do stuff just because, and then we be like, I don't know. What you mean you don't know? But as an adult, we'll tell kids, I don't know
Yes.
is not acceptable. But as an adult, you use
Mm-hmm.
I don't know a lot. And
Yes.
and, and
That's
you
right.
Right.
don't ask yourself why enough.
Because we don't want to know. And we
Mhm.
don't want that
Mm-hmm.
accountability, not to ourselves
Mm-hmm.
or anyone else. And then it comes down to having to pause long enough to realize once you do know the why, what are you going to do with it? And so it's easy to just flip
Mm-hmm.
through life saying what you're going to do as if it's
Mm-hmm.
already done. And
Mhm.
then
Mm-hmm.
because we got ourselves food, we think everybody else is like the emperor's new clothes. Everybody knew his food was naked. So
Oh my God. Listen, Miss Florenza, listen. You better talk about it. We gotta have you on the radio show so we can have some good
Yes.
time. We can have some girl chat. Listen, we're gonna have you
Yes.
over for some girl chat. We so appreciate you coming to kick it with us here in the chat room. We want you to shout out all your social media, the name of the book that you have in the King series, and where anybody can get all of your books and be able to meet and greet you.
yes, so you can follow me anywhere, just social media. Oh my gosh, Instagram, Florenza Denise Lee, Twitter, Florenza Lee, Facebook. There are 13 pages. Just put in Florenza Lee, and it will take you to all of them. My easiest site is my website, florenza.org. Coming soon is achandponders.com. So that one will be up and going soon. I am in
Mhm.
the Decadence book under Ache and Ponder, and my
Mm.
chapter, the I call it my placeholder title is the seed catcher, and I know that's gonna change, but y'all that that kind of get her a lot wet.
Did that go over your head? Seed catcher, did that go over your head? Listen. Watermelon, I'm just saying.
Look, 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 look. Look, 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 listen, Linda. Um, and so you're able to find my books everywhere. As a matter of fact, I'm super excited that Walmart, their online store, carries absolutely all of my books. You can find them on Target, Books a Million, Barnes and Noble, African bookstore, which is amazing. A lot of your independent bookstores have at least two or three of them. The ages
Mhm.
range from before birth all the way up to eighth grade. I've got fabulous chapter books for
Mm.
children. I thought that they were going to be for the fourth through sixth grade, but the second graders are consuming them like crazy, which is
Oh.
absolutely amazing. Topics that deal with homelessness, mindfulness, concept books. My characters are diverse. They have absolutely nothing to do with the books. I've got a child with vitiligo and Amari's birthday wish. Nothing about vitiligo is in the book. I feel like sometimes we just make an issue about something that doesn't need to be an issue. How come she just can't have
Mhm.
vitiligo and enjoy her birthday, right?
That's right.
I feature a lot of biracial parents. Right now is mainly the grandparent that
Mhm.
falls into the biracial, but the books that are coming soon have biracial parenting, Japanese and Black, or some. I've not yet gone into same gender um,
Mhm.
parents, and I think that's just because of the image that I have for my books thus far. I don't think it would behoove me to write in that vein, even though I am
Mhm.
a huge supporter of the LGBTQ community, and my
Mhm.
peeps know that. I just don't feel right now that's my area to write in for children. So
Mhm.
yeah, they are out there. So look forward to seeing me pull out some stuff in decadence and over there with the tribe. Y'all, I
Listen,
would try. I
y'all.
would try. Remember, y'all, that listen.
Listen, y'all. Miss Florenza gonna have girl
Oh.
chat with us. For all of those that watch Lunch Chat, y'all know we have some girl chats.
Yes.
So she's gonna
Oh
come
yeah.
on and have that talk with us, have that girl chat with us. I'm excited.
Mhm.
It was such a blessing and a pleasure to meet you. We love your
It
energy.
was.
We love your
Yes.
energy. We will see you soon.
Yes. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thanks
Bye.
for joining us. She's amazing, Leash.
Yes, I love it. I love it. I love it. All right, y'all. Y'all know. See, a lot of people are like, why we gotta take a break? We gotta take a break because when I edit, I put our commercials in between. So, and I also like the authors to be able to have their own version. I don't have to edit their interview. It's right there. Just whatever link
Mhm.
that I send. So that's why. So the other one is already up. Y'all head over to Let's Chat to the other live interview. We're gonna have the fabulous Anita on with us. We love Anita, our scribe sister. We will see you
Yes.
guys on the other side. We're going to take a brief break. We'll be right back.
Okay.